Hours ahead of the Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to the United States, his first one in the second Trump era, I am joined by a very well-informed panel right outside the White House, and let me begin by asking somebody, Catherine, how do you see this? How do you see this visit? What, according to you, is the significance of this visit? Not
substance, but what the significance?
Yeah, not so much in the sense that, of course, he's amongst the first few world leaders who are coming to the state's capital in the Trump 2 era. But other than that, as a long-term observer, what do you think is the significance of this visit?
Well, I think the significance is it's a continuation of the stronger U.S.-India relationship that we've been seeing over the past several administrations. It's supported by both parties in the United States, which in this day and age is pretty amazing. And that's because a lot of the outside world hasn't really changed. We still have the threat of China's malign behavior. We still have the need to find answers to energy, health issues. So I do see that the cooperation will continue. And of course, you have the strong personal bond that you cited between these two leaders, which is very obvious.
And do you think that those personal bonds at some time, at least at the apex level, do help in getting over thorny issues like currently one we are facing in the relationship?
I think they do help. I would say that because we're democracies, the views of the public also will matter. And so at this point, as you cited again, the people-to-people relationship is very strong and important, but that doesn't mean that there's no risk to that relationship through issues like migrants and visas.
And Mr. Vikri, what do you think, how much at this point in time? Look, the Trump administration is taking shape. They've just come into power. Realistically thinking, how much do you think, India should be expecting on large concern areas right from the beginning?
Well, I think that this is a very important meeting because of the turmoil which has been caused by the Trump administration coming in. And it's very important, and in spite of all the noise, that the partnership be seen as the strongest possible between India and the United States. These two great democracies are absolutely essential on any issue of importance to the world. Now, President Trump is a guy who wants to make a deal, and he wants to see that the United States is able to sell more, and he's looking for something to use with tariffs as a leverage in that regard. I think that the defense procurement will be important. And then, of course, energy. I'm particularly interested as to whether or not there'll be some talk about the civil nuclear deal and the actual fruition of that, because it's absolutely essential that these two great democracies be able to cooperate, not just on oil and gas, as the president has indicated, but across the board. So it's a very important time, and we're pleased that Prime Minister Modi is here and that he is among the very first to meet with the new administration.
Catherine, you said that it doesn't mean that the risk does not remain. What are the risks that you see?
Well, there's always a risk. I mean, we know that there's a risk that there'll be tariffs and retaliatory tariffs. In my experience, because that happened during Trump that doesn't tend to impact the whole relationship. We still manage to cooperate in a whole range of different areas, including things like health, education, energy. So I would anticipate all that should continue the same way. Part of that's because India can always retaliate against a tariff. And
no one would want retaliation right in the beginning, to begin with.
But it could happen. I have a feeling it won't happen at this meeting. An accommodation will be made for purchases of oil, let's say, or defense equipment. But in any case, it could happen. I think there is a risk, though, of both leaders kind of overestimating the goodwill of people when it comes to people-to-people ties, meaning that with illegal migration, the numbers we're seeing, the Indian government has stressed, and notably the opposition has stressed, it's the right of the United States to enforce its borders, which it certainly is, which India does. But I don't know that people have really taken stock of the total numbers, there may be as many as 7.25 lakh undocumented Indians in the United States. So how both leaders deal with that and deportations related to ever greater numbers is going to be pivotal. And what
India has very clearly said that deportations is not an issue as long as we verify the illegal migrants, but the treatment surely would remain an issue.
I'm sure that is going to be raised today. I guess the point I'm trying to make is these things can spin and become political issues. I can give you an example. When I was Consul General in Hyderabad, there was a case of students who were deported, who our government said knew that they weren't real students. They were attending what my government said were sham universities, but the local people around Hyderabad felt that they had been duped, that they were innocent. And so that kind of thing can matter over time. That put a lot of pressure on the local pro-United States government. So what you want to do is avoid that kind of thing happening on a bigger scale.
Miss Soni, Anju, yeah, what do you think? I mean the whole sense of the relationship at this point in time it is, and how do you think how do you think things will move pan from here on?
Okay. See, as you see, India is the largest democracy and USA is the oldest democracy, and people are at the center of these two democracies. And I will speak on people's perspective here. And personally, I see this whole world as one house or one family. As Modi ji says, everybody in India believes in Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. So this is the whole family, and the leaders, they represent the different nations, interests of nations. Narendra Modi represents India first. Trump represents Make America Great Again. That's how China leadership represents. France represents their interest. And it's like all brothers in the house, talking, negotiating, and maintaining the world peace on this global stage, and still thinking what is best for their land, for their people. So I think this visit will be building on the first term, which Prime Minister Modi had with Donald Trump during his 45th presidency. And this is like more of welcoming the big brother back to the house, congratulating him on his presidency. And they share a great bond, and this meeting will be building on that. And this building, definitely, they are tough leaders, tough negotiators, and each will try to negotiate for their part. And I think the big brother in the house, I would call Donald Trump, he understands, because this is a bigger economy, like 27 trillion economy. India is a 4 trillion economy. And, the one who is bigger, I would suggest him to be more generous towards the other brother. And it's kind of like keeping each other's values in mind, interests in mind, respecting each other, and try to negotiate for the betterment of their own country and people.
Mr. Soni, what do you think, other than the fact that, of course, there are real issues of people to people, and there are challenges of illegal migration or even tariff, etc. But what do you think where the real progress can be made?
फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल मेरा सत श्री अकाल नमस्ते टू NDTV दर्शकों ਨੂੰ ਔਰ ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਕਿ NDTV ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਹੋਏ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ we have to discuss our Modi ji's visit, very important visit. At this time, President Trump has been elected on certain agenda, and he's trying to, since he took office, by executive order, he's trying to take all the action necessary, what he promised to America, that he's going to do that. But that also, there are a lot of issues, there is a lot of things on the platter for Modi ji also, and Mr. Trump also, to solve this, trade issues, immigration issues, so many other issues are on the platter. So I believe both leaders are ready to solve that, and it can be solved. It's not that any country is adamant or that we are not going to back out. Yes, there is a give and take, and hopefully both the countries can work out on the trade, immigration. And recently some migrant has been sent back to India. Well, India never refused to take them back, but all he wants is to send them respectably and so that they can be home with their loved ones. And whatever has happened is happened. On the trade issue, I think both countries have a deficit issue. America is running deficit, India is running deficit. So I think there is some give and take on that, and it can be worked out. That's all I believe.
It can be, yeah. Yeah.
See, the illegal immigration point is always coming up, that India deported the illegal immigrants. So I would say
I mean, America deported the
Yeah,
illegal
sorry.
migrants. We received
Yeah,
them,
that's
yeah.
what I want to
Yeah.
see, like India deporting the illegal immigrants. That's what I wanted to say. Like, India should learn from President Trump. Securing his country, that's what Prime Minister Modi can learn, and take tough decisions in securing Indian borders and Indian country. The way the people who were
But
deported...
that is our challenge. We do
Yeah,
not wish
but
that kind of treatment to given out to the
it's
fellow.
No. Before
beings.
before going to the treatment, those fellow human beings, though they are from my own country, and I have great love and respect for them, they did not respect the law of the land. So they were here illegally, and I would say those who are illegally in India should be meted with the same treatment, should be sent out, and Modi and Prime Minister Modi can learn from President Trump.
A radical view there. Radical view. We do not. The country's policies do not allow for that, so we will restrict it to that where the law allows. Young man, what do you? I mean, what's your take on the Prime Minister's visit? Amongst the first few very important and critical visits to the new Trump administration.
Yeah, Nikunj, I think both sides are going to be looking for quick and early wins at this stage. And, we see 3 or 4 different areas where that can happen. One, President Trump is trying to ramp up energy production in the US. And, Indian companies are also looking to execute long-term LNG contracts. So that can be an area where announcements can be made. Secondly, defense and arms sales is an area where we can see progress. And then coming to also the fact that, there are companies that are looking to invest in India. We saw in the previous administration, there was announcement of strategic tech cooperation, semiconductor companies investing in India, even though IRA was happening here. So India would be looking to, continue that momentum as well. It's a cold day in Washington, but hopefully the diplomatic ties will continue to remain warm, and we'll see strategic tech cooperation moving forward. But in addition to that, India also looking to buy, maybe energy and more defense from the US in exchange of strategic tech. Is how we are looking at it. And, we mentioned immigration as well. Of course, large diaspora here in the US, they may be living on American soil, but the roots are in India. And so that's the connective tissue between the two countries. And, at least for the priority sectors, strategic tech sectors where America needs human resource, high-skilled human resource, how they can expedite, issuance of visas, shorten wait times for interviews for at least the corporate talent that America needs is also an issue. So trade, tech, talent, I think that's on the agenda. Yeah.
What do you think, sir? What is your sense? One thing that always comes to the fore is when we discuss India-US relationship. Obviously, when the Prime Minister comes, expectations are bound to rise. He's an extremely popular leader, and Mr. Trump has got a very resounding mandate this time. But irrespective of that, India-US relationship has always been in a very positive trajectory. And what do you think, what can take it to the next level, what can raise it to a level where it becomes the showpiece, the marquee of relationship, at least between the democracies?
Yes, the trajectory has been very good. And with this Prime Minister Modi and President Trump, with decisive actions and willingness to do things, that will be the game changer. Whether it will be real trade relationships, and U.S. has running very, very high trade deficits, and India can understand the problems. U.S. is very tough position in not paying even Social Security next 10 years if the trade deficit runs. So from that point of view, what President Trump is doing is very understandable. I think it has to be done a little bit more smoothly. But from India point of view, India has very complementary strengths. The huge human resources and production US can leverage the Make in India or combined production of defense equipment. This is the only way we can beat China and other aggressive powers. And the two democracies can leverage each other, and that's the way to go. And with strong people, leaders on the helm, I think that can happen, and it will be very good to the world.
My final question to you, Mr. Soni. Tell me something that when it comes to migration, a large part of the migration world over will always remain questionable. And President Trump has said that, we need talent, and therefore we need talent, and therefore we would get best quality people into this country, but there is no scope for any illegal migration. How do you think that can be made clear to the people, and the people who are into this business, like the human traffickers, etc., etc.? How can that be curbed in the beginning itself, so that it doesn't become a thorny issue as far as the relationship between these two very important democracies is concerned?
Illegal immigration, lot of people, travel agents, visa makers, giving the false letters, asylum issues. There are so many issues involved in illegal immigration that those people sell their property, 50 lakhs, 1 crore. They pay to the dealers, they pay to the agents, they pay to the lawyers who file the papers. So a lot of people's income depends on them, and they were taking advantage of that. And those people used to sell their land and houses, and look at the parents, they are waiting there, sell their property and sell their children here. And at last, illegal is illegal, whether it's from the South American countries or whether from our country. So I think that how much India can do that to stop them, it was very difficult. It depends on the personal household issues for the better life. They want to jump out the fence. They go through 6 months, 1 year, walking in the jungle, donkey route they call it. It is very disheartening,
You think that this kind of tough action can probably put an end to this kind of human suffering? See, at the end of the day, it is human suffering, right?
At the end of the day, it's a human suffering. This kind of action by President Trump will send the clear message that you can come here legally, but don't even try to come illegal way, and then I have to send you back. And look at how much they felt humiliated that when the military plane landed there with the handcuffs and all that. The relations, the people, the rishtedars, everybody knows that how they have come. They didn't steal anything, but they were illegal. And they broke the law of United States, and probably they broke the law of India too by jumping out.
Thank you, Mr. Soni. Lady wants to make a point, please.
I would like to add on that, as America requires skilled labor, like skilled workers or more skill and talent from India, then it should make the H-1B process easier, their stay over here easier, and if they want to transition to be permanent residents or contributing further to the economy, provide them their spouses the ability to work, like not for short term but forever they want. So they have to simplify the process of coming in here, the talent, respect the talent, value the talent, and that's how they can retain the talent. And obviously for illegal immigration, tough actions as were taken will give a clear message to the entire world. Yes, respect the law of the land, and legally you are more than welcome. Come here, contribute to the economy, contribute to the culture, contribute to the diversity. That's what America stands for, but don't take us for granted.
So very distinguished panel there with me, right from outside the Washington White House, the seat of the power in Washington, and making some very forceful points like that: respect the talent, respect the processes. That's the message to both the sides. To one side, it's respect the processes; other side, respect the talent, and show enough flexibility as mature democracies should. This is Nikunj Garg reporting from Washington, D.C. for NDTV.